Hey there, how you doing? Quick note, as you watch this video, I will be on vacation, so these next couple videos will have already been edited and recorded, so you still have some juicy content while I'm gone. Anyhow, I was a teenage exocolonist. This fantastic game was my game of the year for 2022. If you did already watch my initial game of the year video, first off, thank you so much for the support. You are an absolute hottie. Holy shit. Secondly, I will expand a little more on my thoughts and feelings in this video about Teenage Exocolonist, including a spoilerish extended additional review of it at the very end, which you will know in my Game of the Year video I was adamantly against. So anyhow, if you're new, welcome, and I'm excited to tell you about this fantastic game that I adore. But now that I'm done rambling, let's get into this special extra second edition of my monthly series, The Indie Reviewer. It's very rare for a game to just absolutely steal me away. It gave me that feeling that has become too rare as of late. I feel like I don't get whisked away anymore, unlike when I was a kid, when I was addicted to reading. Lord of the Rings, The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson. All of these books managed to rip me from the mundane daily life that I live and pulled me into an intense and exciting world that I somehow felt a part of. But there were two book series that stole me the best. Two series that caused me to lay on my bed, imagining how my life would be in that world, the things I would do, the people I would meet. These books were the Leviathan series by Scott Westerfield and the graphic novel series Amulet by Kazu Kibushi. I hope I said that right. They convinced my little brain that this world was there, just beyond my reach. It existed in this strange liminal space between reality and fiction in my young middle school brain. So when I tell you that I was a teenage exocolonist did that for me, I hope that helps you understand just why this is at the very top of my list at the moment. As nerdy and dorky as that spiel was, I genuinely feel as though Teenage Exocolonist manages to steal me away again, which is a very special feeling that only seems to drift farther away in the current gaming landscape. I think part of the reason Elden Ring was so successful was because it immersed people in this bleak other world with its fantastic world building, and personally, that escapism is a sentiment that I don't think video games have really managed to pull off for me personally. At least, not often. Ironically, since most games are just kind of interactive books. The most recent games I've played other than this one that pulled this off was that Guardians of the Galaxy game, and very recently, as in the last week, Dragon Age Origins, which, quick sidebar, DA Origins is fantastic. I'm finally getting around to play it, even though it's an ancient game at this point, and I can't believe that I've waited this long. A little extra recommendation for you. So now that I've pulled you into my brain a bit more than is probably comfortable, hey, at least there's an extra blanket in there, I got you. Allow me to actually tell you what the fuck this game is about. You are unshockingly a teenage exocolonist. Traveling to a distant world, you start the game as a child at the age of 10, and as you can imagine, the grown-ups don't entirely want to tell you very much. A lot of this first portion is you being rather confuzzled, trying to figure things out as those around you are as vague about the problems going on as possible. So you don't really know why you are headed to this planet in the middle of nowhere, as most of you youngins were born on this spaceship to begin with. But then, on the ship, something visibly goes wrong. Alarms are blaring, children are crying. It is at this moment you are given the opportunity to have your first character-driven decision. Do you stand strong? Act as a pinnacle of strength for the other kids around you? Or do you cry with them, offering empathy to those who are terrified? It's a simple choice that clearly helps you define yourself from the get-go. Then the ship crashes to the planet, leaving a lot of the kids rattled as well as some of the parents. But your parents, Flulu and Geranium, take charge, beginning the planting of a new farm. Walls are erected, and slowly but surely this makeshift base of operations becomes a home. You spend your days meeting the other characters, hanging out with your friends, friends, learning, and altogether just building an incredible life in this alien world, as well as exploring it. It's all about you blazing a trail into this new generation, into this new, entirely different planet from the one that we as players know so well. And what really brings this feeling together is just how fucking gorgeous the art is. The pastel colors and watercolor textures, bringing everything together into something entirely beautifully unique. And what really addicts you to this game is definitely the other characters. They are beautifully written and all entirely unique people. They feel so goddamn real, it's almost terrifying, and the replayability is 100% here, as befriending everybody in one playthrough is genuinely impossible in the best way. You just don't have the time to invest into everybody, just like real life. My first playthrough, I befriended Anemone, and eventually, as we grew up, she ended up becoming somebody that my character could not relate to anymore. And that's when the game gut punched me, with our friendship just slowly falling apart, which is not a scripted event. It by no means was something that I couldn't avoid, but other choices I'd made in the past came back to haunt me, and our personalities just eventually grew to be incompatible. I won't spoil the details of any of that, obviously, but I just want to articulate how tight-knit this game feels. And don't you worry, there are plenty of wrenches it throws into the main story, and there is one big part of this game that makes it perfect to me. And it's something I refuse to mention in my Game of the Year video, but I'm gonna talk about it, just in case you aren't convinced yet. It makes this game the most unique relationship sim I've ever played, and if I tell you about it, it would genuinely ruin your first playthrough. So play it. Or if you want, you can go look more into it or just stick around for those spoilers, but I strongly recommend you go play it first. I'm going to keep it brief, but here come the spoilers. Skip to the next chapter of the video if you even might like this game. I'm serious. Okay, I'll stop being a dramatic little shit. I was a teenage exocolonist secretly a roguelike. Yeah, fucking bizarre, I know. After your first playthrough, which runs about 8 hours, you learn that you have a strange connection to your past lives, and that this timeline you just lived through is not how things were supposed to go. And so, the game restarts, but this time you have new options everywhere you turn. You know more about everybody. You can stop previously traumatic events from happening that you just couldn't have stopped before. There are characters that die early on in your first playthrough that you can save in your second and your third and your fourth. And it adds entirely new characters to understand and progress your relationship with, platonic or otherwise. It's fantastic, it's incredibly unique, and it's one of the best games of this genre I've ever played, just for this fantastic twist alone. I'm sorry for ruining it for you if you haven't played it yet, but if it convinces you to try it out, then I think I've decided that it's worth it. This is one of my favorite games I've ever played, so I just want other people to enjoy it too. But if this isn't your style of game, I completely understand. You're good. If it isn't really your style of game, thanks for sticking through this video. I'm not really sure why you did, but I sure as fuck appreciate it. Anyways, thank you so very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, do give that little like button a little smacky wacky. And if you want to watch more content, give me a little subscribe down there. It's free, and it makes you pretty when you do it. But most importantly, have a goddamn wonderful day, and don't die, bitch.